Alrighty then. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rick the Rasslin Dad and his boys. We are coming at you at an unnamed hour from an unnamed location.
We're at Keenan's house, or Rick's house, actually.
Oh, okay, so it's actually technically a named location.
It is now a named location.
Named location, and it is 11:37 a.m., which is about 12-hour differential from our normal broadcasting time.
About 36 hours?
We're about 36 hours late right
36
now.
36 hours late.
We're about 36 hours late. Normally we would be coming at you on a Wednesday evening. We missed it this last Wednesday evening due to a variety of reasons, but primarily because, as you will notice, our co-host, Dr. Jeff Rutledge, is not available this week. He is up in Valentine, Nebraska at the Outdoor Challenge Wrestling Camp, head clinician out there. And so, he's kind of the glue that holds this whole thing together. So we missed Wednesday night.
Yep. And so that actually brings up the topic of the episode, which is personal flaws of said Jeff Rutledge.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we're going to get into the deep stuff, the stuff that we know about him as a friend.
Paintbrush head.
Yeah.
Giant paintbrush hair.
Yep. And a little top button ass.
Oh, whoa.
But we're going to dig into the personal stuff.
Yeah,
we're going to get raw here today talking about him.
It's going to get real. No, he's up in Valentine. We wish him well. We decided, you know what, we're going to do a podcast this week anyway. So my co-host, Mr. Drew SGD, the Desperado, the man, the myth, and the legend, Ethertone, will be, sitting in. We'll be doing a dual podcast, just two guys going at it, kind of like a wrestling match, or as Rick might say, a wrestling match.
A bit of a verbal sparring.
Verbal. I will verbally give you a full Nelson. What is that? I wonder what that means. It means it's like that's illegal. It's something that you say that's out of bounds.
I think that's what we call hate speech.
Okay, no.
Well, not in the U.S. at least. It's not illegal here.
I'm gonna give you a verbal double chicken wing, and sit out on it. You know where you can't. You're not pinned. It's like you're trying to get. You're trying to get pinned,
and you're just getting a free chiropractic work.
Oh my gosh! Actually, before we get going, super funny story about that. I heard a story of an old wrestler. This is I've already told Drew this story, but for all of our listeners, all our viewers out there, one of my favorite wrestling stories that I've ever heard of, and I can't even remember the names of the wrestlers who this was involved in. It was an old school story.
It was Dave Schultz.
Oh yeah, I think Dave Schultz and some guy he was practicing with. I don't know who it was. Which we're going to talk about Mark Schultz later on the podcast here today, but the Schultz brothers, two wrestling icons. But Dave Schultz was wrestling a guy. I don't remember who it was.
It was like a world champ, like someone really good.
And Dave Schultz was known for putting his opponents in painful situations. And so Dave Schultz is wrestling this guy, and he cranks him over in some move. I don't know what it was. Some unnamed move that was apparently super painful. But the way he had it locked up, if it was like a double chicken wing or something like that, the guy's shoulders literally couldn't get to the mat.
I think it was like some sort of half, and his arm was like stuck in the mat to where he couldn't go over.
Maybe it was he had legs in, like both legs in.
Oh, it was both legs in, power half. Yeah, that's what it was. It was both legs in, power half.
Both legs in, bellied out, power half. And he's just ripping on this. And apparently, as the story goes, the guy was like trying to get pinned. He was in so much pain, he was trying to get both of his shoulders to the mat, but he couldn't. And after the match, he goes up to Dave Schultz.
I think it was just practice. I think it was like a practice match.
After the match, he goes up to Dave Schultz and he's like, Dave Schultz goes up to him. And he's like, man, I tell you what, I was just ripping on that as hard as I could, but I just couldn't pin you.
I just couldn't get you over. And he was like, yeah, I know, I was stuck in the mat. I was trying to get pinned.
I was trying to get my shoulders over. I was just really ripping on it. Oh, what a great
seeing other
story.
people in pain. It's very similar to when one of my favorite things to watch in wrestling is when someone is so tired they can barely stand. I get so much joy from that, but when it's you, it's the worst feeling ever. I was actually in a championship rec softball game last night, and I about threw up on second base from running for about 15 to 16 seconds.
Championship. Nice job. You guys won.
Yeah,
Got the dub.
I think we got dropped to the lowest bracket. But, yeah, so I was very much out of shape. I was seeing spots, and that part wasn't fun. But when I see other people like that, I love it.
Oh, speaking of seeing spots, we're gonna launch into the first topic of the podcast today, which is cutting weight stories. Okay, now we've all heard them. If you're a wrestler, you've heard them. I've heard them. You probably got some of your own. But we've heard some, as of recent, some dramatic cutting weight stories, and it's hard to know like what's believable, what's not believable. So like I was just texting one of our wrestlers, and he told me that he cut for Fargo. He cut 15 pounds in 3 days to get down to weight for Fargo. Now probably not the wisest decision ever. Chance, if you're out there, if you're listening. Hey, way to go. Proud of you for making weight. Maybe shouldn't have waited till the last 3 days to cut 15. But,
there's a few schools of thought
there are a few schools of thought on that. We're going to get into that. But, I think that, to me, that is 15 pounds in 3 days is believable. Well, I definitely think it's believable because I've done about that myself. I've been in that situation myself. I've done about 15 in about 3 days before. And it's miserable, but it's doable. It's miserable, but it is doable. You can do 5 pounds a day. Shoot, I've seen
pretty easily you can do 5 pounds.
I did see with my own two eyes. I saw one of my college teammates. He was 18 pounds over on Thursday before practice. 18 pounds over. Tournament was Saturday morning. Weigh-ins were Saturday morning.
Is Thursday.
Thursday before practice. I can't remember if it was. Maybe it was before a morning workout. Maybe
it was Thursday morning.
It might have been. I think it was Thursday morning. We were getting a workout in Thursday morning, and then we also had practice that afternoon as well. Thursday morning, he was 18 over. He made weight Saturday morning, so he effectively did 18 pounds in about 2-ish. Yeah, it was about two days, 18 pounds. And he was absolutely miserable and, like, barely could, like, get to the scale and weigh in. So, but it's possible. Like, that's about as dramatic as it gets, in my opinion.
Well,
I've heard stories.
I think we've all heard a lot of cut weight stories.
Oh, yeah.
The reason this got brought up is I was speaking to my former roommate, Caleb Kolb. Shout out to Caleb Kolb. Head coach at Pine Richland in Pennsylvania, I believe. I don't know.
Go Pine
He
Richland.
was just up working at a Mean Gene Mills camp the last week, and Gene Mills told him a story of, I believe it was at a World Championships, where Mark Schultz, which is where we're bringing this in, Mark Schultz was 12 pounds overweight with an hour and a half before weigh-ins to make it. An hour and a half to make it. And he said that it was like really hot outside. He was in sweats. He took a bike outside, and there's like, and the way that Caleb was telling me is that there's like all these people around him like watching. It was like he had like a crowd of people, and he's just going, and Gene Mills is like in his ear, he's like, look at all these people watching you. Like, you're going to make weight and you're going to win it and all these chicks are going to like you or something. I don't know.
I don't think that's going to motivate me to make weight more.
Yeah, well, we all know what chicks like, and that's a skinny dude.
So, 12 pounds.
12 pounds in an hour and a half.
In an hour and a half, in 90 minutes.
I would say I don't believe that.
It's not humanly possible.
I mean, you could lose that much weight, but you could probably have to, like,
how could you lose that much weight?
Like bloodletting?
I want to know. I want to know. I bet we could look up the. I bet there's been some research studies out there that, and you'll have to get on this grind here in a second, Coach E. But
yeah,
I bet there's been some research studies out there that will show or have shown maximum amount of perspiration in a certain amount of time. Like, how much can your cells actually? How fast can your cells actually get rid of the water that is in them? Like, there's got to be a rate at which, because obviously to lose that weight, you have to sweat. You have to perspire. You have to get, the water that is in your cells out of your cells and through your skin, out of your pores, and it has to, that 12 pounds has to come from somewhere. So the point that I'm getting at is is this scientifically possible in that amount of time? I'm not saying whether or not he could push his body that hard. He's Mark freaking Schultz. He probably could push his body. Mark Schultz, he probably was doing a freaking sprint for 90 minutes. But my point of contention is it literally scientifically possible for water to go out of cells and through pores that fast? 12 pounds. 12 pounds is a gallon and a half of water. Is that right?
Lot. I would say you could lose weight by, if you took like, I don't know, maybe fast-acting like laxatives to where you could lose more than just water, but you could crap out a lot.
Dude, we've all heard laxative cutting weight stories, and they're all terrible.
That's also how you get those kids who poop on the mat.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it happen twice.
And I remember my senior year, we were wrestling in high school, we were wrestling in Missouri, and some dude pooped all over the mat, and I was joking. I was like, that's fun. Whoever has to wrestle on that mat next, that sucks. And it was me.
It was you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's where she'll get you. No, I mean, like, a gallon and a half of water from inside your body to outside your body in 90 minutes, even if you're taking laxatives, like, just think about, let's hypothetically say half of this weight was going to come from laxatives. You're not going to be able to, you can't poop 3/4 of a gallon of water.
You could poop a lot of, like, poop water.
No,
where you kind of pee out your butt.
No,
we all know how that
not
is.
Three quarters of a gallon.
It's called 45 minutes after Taco Bell.
Imagine a gallon of milk. Fill that up 3/4 of the way. And that's only half of what you have to cut.
Oh, dude, I have had to pee in cars. Hold on, I gotta like turn this. Let me make sure my audio's good.
Yeah, well,
I think it's good. All right,
it's just
I've had to pee, dude. I don't like you pee a lot. I've peed out.
Yeah, dude. But if you ever pee into a Gatorade, have you peed into a Gatorade bottle before?
Oh yeah, and I've topped them up.
A 20-ounce Gatorade bottle. That's a big pee. A 20-ounce Gatorade bottle. That's a big pee. Now take that. What's that? That's
like a pound. That would probably be about 2 pounds in actual weight.
No, it's a pound point 3. A 20-ounce.
Well, it's 16 ounces is a pound, but
a 20-ounce Gatorade bottle is a pound point 3. A pound and 3/10.
I didn't do a lot of that math learning.
Yeah, no,
back
you didn't.
In the day.
So imagine at least peeing. What would that be? That would be at least 9 of those. Filling up 9 20-ounce Gatorade bottles with pee. Not gonna happen, dude. Especially when you're already dehydrated. It doesn't matter if it's pee or poop. It's still liquid that comes from your body from somewhere.
Here's what I'm thinking.
Not
Here's
possible.
What I'm thinking. We go live on this channel. And we kind of like try to bulk, like, you know, drink a lot right before and eat a ton of food and see how much we can lose in an hour and a half outside.
I like it. We
honestly,
actually
could
did
you die
this.
from heat exhaustion doing that?
You could. There's risk there, I'm sure. But Coach Etherton and I, one time, we decided to, in a 24-hour period, just cut weight to show our wrestlers.
Because we had some wrestlers that would weigh. I'm just gonna take out a no. I'm not calling anyone out here, but I believe this person weighed 123.
I don't remember who this is, so it doesn't even matter. But
I believe this person weighed 123, and they're like, hey, is it possible to lose 3 pounds? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, can you like lose 3 pounds? I'm like, in 2 hours or what?
I mean, they obviously just didn't know.
Yeah, he just didn't know.
Well,
he legitimately didn't know you could lose weight. And I was like, all right, so we came up with this thing. We go, we'll do a 24-hour thing where we'll see how much weight we can lose. And we didn't really do any workout.
Well,
we went through a practice.
What I remember us thinking was we did also have some wrestlers that were kind of giving us the like, Coach, I'm like 5 over, you know, on a Tuesday. Like, oh man, no, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make weight this weekend.
And we had some issues with weight management that season.
Well, yeah. And to be clear, let's preface it with this: we are actually huge proponents of high school wrestlers not cutting weight, really, very much, even at all. Like, we realize that sometimes it's necessary to kind of to fit in the lineup, or, you know, for guys to. You know, for guys, I mean, or just like if you're like 150 and, you know, maybe it makes sense to cut to 145, cut 5 pounds, and not wrestle 152. But we're fine too with the kid who weighs 152 and wants to wrestle 152. I mean, that's fine by us. We tend to think that we would rather have kids lift weights. This is another topic for another podcast possibly, but we would rather have kids lift weights, get strong, work hard in practice, and not worry about cutting weight. So they're focused in practice on exercising hard, training hard, drilling hard, wrestling live hard, and not focused on how much weight they have to drop. That's our thing.
Yeah.
But
so that's kind of the disclaimer.
That's the disclaimer.
Coach Rutledge, tuning in from Valentine, Nebraska, just
is
texted me, actually. He said, don't talk about promoting dehydrating, 3 exclamation points.
Okay, we're not.
Yeah, I know.
Sheesh, Coach Rutt.
See, this is what we have to deal
My
with
gosh.
off camera most of the time.
He's not even on the podcast, and he's still ruining it.
And then he literally, after that, goes, also, is Rocky IV a good movie?
Yes, Rocky IV is a good movie. The whole Rocky series,
that's
freak.
That's where he takes on the Russian.
Well, no, actually, Rocky IV.
Yeah, no, that's Rocky IV.
What's the one where he just fights the guy in the street at the end? That's not Rocky V?
I never saw that one.
Yeah, it's terrible. That one's
I
not
didn't see
good.
that one. No, Rocky IV is...
Is Rocky IV when he takes on Drago?
Dolph Lundgren as... Oh, man. I forget who it was, but it's...
Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago.
Ivan Drago, yeah.
You got the Drago haircut.
Oh, yeah,
once.
I had it in college. I had a Drago haircut.
Oh, my gosh.
I actually got the flat top, and I bleached it. Which is actually kind of bleached now.
So,
but
looks good.
No, it doesn't.
Looks very good.
It actually looks really bad, and I'm just waiting to
looks great.
I'm okay with that.
Anyway, okay, we're getting on a huge rabbit trail because Coach Rutledge. Gosh.
Yeah.
Dang
Okay.
it,
So back to I don't believe the Mark Schultz story.
So
12 pounds in an hour and a half.
No, I definitely don't believe it either. Hold on. Let's go back to this though, real quickly, where we were going, which was disclaimer: we are huge proponents of high school wrestlers not cutting very much weight at all. That being said, Coach Etherton and I, we were having guys that were kind of complaining about cutting 2 or 3 or 4 pounds, whatever. You know, they didn't really realize how easy it is to lose a little bit of water weight when you need to do that. And most people don't. Most people don't realize that, that you can just lose a pretty significant amount of water weight when you need to without really doing harm to your body, and you can do it pretty safely and pretty easily. But so we just said, hey, we're going to take a 24-hour time period. We're going to weigh in before practice today. We'll weigh in before practice, or I think weigh in
before. It was before practice.
Weigh in before practice today. We'll weigh in before practice the following day, and we'll see how much weight we lose.
So 24 hours.
All I did, I was pretty busy that stretch of 24 hours. The only thing I had time to do, I couldn't even work out. That night before I went to bed, I sat in my bathroom with the hot shower on for about 25 minutes. And you did our high school work. And then all I just did was I just didn't eat and drink anything for that 24 hours. I was down 7.5 pounds the next day. And you were down, I think, 8.5 pounds.
I think yeah.
You beat me. I was kind of mad.
Well, it's because I went and sauna'd.
You worked out. You sauna'd.
I went and sauna'd at YMCA.
Disclaimer, not legal in high school athletics.
I'm not a high school athlete.
That's true. You're not. So that is one thing they can use
But
to
I
say,
I didn't get an extra workout in. We both just did the high school practice, and then I did a sauna it was honestly maybe 15 minutes. It wasn't anything. I was like, the motivation's real low when kids don't know if 3 pounds is enough. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've lost a lot more than 3 pounds. And then, so I just 15 minutes. But honestly, if we had to, we could have lost a lot more.
No, yeah. I mean, you can do, that's where I'm saying, I
think you could do 8 pounds and I was 9
pounds.
15.
You could definitely do 12 to 15. In my opinion, you can do 12 to 15 pounds in a 24-hour period. Now, it's not going to be comfortable, and it's not going to be easy.
No.
But you can do 12 to 15 pounds in a 24-hour period. But 12 pounds in 90 minutes?
Yeah, that's unrealistic. I wonder, didn't Anthony Rumble Johnson cut 20 in a day and a half?
Yeah.
Or maybe in a day?
There's been some stories.
And that's why he had to go up?
Well, yeah. There's been some stories in the UFC or fighting in general, where guys have cut extreme amounts of weight. And that goes back to the whole night before weigh-in thing. And we should talk about this for a little bit. Wrestling used to be, back in the day, back in my old man's day, wrestling used to be, that's how Rick, I imagine that's how Rick would say.
Back in the day.
Rick would say something like, back when my old man was wrestling.
We had to wrestle uphill both ways.
Back when my old man was wrestling, we didn't even have wrestling shoes. We just did it barefoot out in the gravel.
Out in the dirt. There was grass. Yeah, I know. We were trying to get tougher. We weren't weak with your guy, them tornado headgears and all the fancy shoes with the gold on them.
We didn't need them dadgum USA Wrestling knee pads.
Yeah.
We skinned up our knees. That's how Rick would probably say it. Anyway, so back in my pops' day, it was night before weigh-ins, and guys would weigh in similar to how MMA is nowadays. Weigh in the night before, wrestle the next morning. And obviously the problem was guys were cutting extreme amounts of weight because you have all that time to rehydrate, right? You have, whatever that is, 12 hours, 15 hours to rehydrate before you wrestle and compete. You feel completely different. So this is an interesting topic because international wrestling just recently switched from night before weigh-ins to weigh-ins 2 hours before the competition, and it's kind of changing things a little bit. I feel like
a lot of guys get tired.
Yes, I think we're seeing. Okay, perfect example: the Hungarian versus Yanni.
Oh man,
we're gonna
awesome.
in a second here. We're gonna talk about the Yashar Dogu, or as I've been told, it should be pronounced Yashar Dog.
Dog.
That's what I've been told. Well,
maybe the Dog. Ooh.
It's a rolled S, Yashar, or
Yashar.
an SH sound.
It's Turkish.
Yes. So,
and he died of a heart attack at the age of 48. I had to Google him.
Yashar
I had
Dog?
to Wikipedia.
Oh. Well, so anyway, Yanni, quarterfinals of the Dogu, is wrestling the Hungarian. Dude is a beast. He looks massive. So he was super strong. He had to be cutting some weight. The gas out of all gas outs. Up 9-0, 1 point away from a tech. And goes he goes to Gasville in a hurry.
Again, I get so much enjoyment from someone gassing out because I know that state of mind, and it is the worst. You don't care anymore at that point, and this guy will not get up. He just lays there. He gets cautioned out of the match.
Worst feeling in the world is when the worst feeling outside of obviously personal tragedy and things like that of that nature, things that are momentary pain. Yeah. I have never felt something as miserable as being in a actual wrestling match, and we've all been there. Between second and third period, you hit that brick wall, the brick wall of all brick walls.
Just go.
It feels like you're gonna die. Yeah. Is what it feels like. Now, obviously, you're not because you've been in that situation before, but you're like,
you think you're gonna pass out.
It feels like Bigfoot has his foot on your chest. And you're just seeing spots.
And you're just so funny to watch. Even if it's my friend, and it's if it's a tournament that really matters, granted all tournaments matter, but if it's maybe the national tournament, I'm dang. But if it's just an open meet, I think it's so funny seeing my friends that way.
Oh my gosh. Now this is funny, but the point in all this is, or where we were going with this is, there's no way the Hungarian that Yanni wrestled was in that bad of shape. I mean, when you see somebody just fall off a cliff like that and they can't even pick themselves up and get back they can't even get back to the center. It's
recovery. He probably just didn't put the right stuff in his. That probably has a lot to do with it, and there's probably a big cut weight. Yeah, cut weight followed by not taking care of yourself.
He probably cut 15 to 20 in the last couple days or whatever, and he only has 2 hours, and then you're wrestling in the international tournaments. Typically, the way it is you're wrestling within, you typically wrestle about 20 to 30 minutes in between matches or so, and
real quick turnaround.
He hit the wall. He just hit the wall. Now,
so if you need a good laugh and you haven't seen it, go watch that.
Yeah,
match.
Go watch it. Yanni versus Hungarian
at the Yashar Dogu.
I believe it was quarterfinals of the Dogu. Yeah. Quarterfinals or semifinals, one of the two. Now, I'm not going to say Yanni couldn't have beaten the guy straight up. I think if Yanni wrestles that guy again, he's going to take a little different strategy against him. And I don't.
The guy was 1 point from teching him. And couldn't stand.
I don't think I see Yanni.
And then when you're 1 point from teching him, you try probably extra hard to end the match because you're so tired.
Did you see the scramble?
Yeah.
So he was up 9-0, huge scramble. He drives Yanni out of bounds. They call it a straight arm push out.
He did it twice.
Yeah, they call it a push out, which, you know, in freestyle wrestling is not a point.
Yeah.
And so he didn't get the point, and then it was just like after that, just done.
Like,
crazy scramble, pushes Yanni out. He probably thinks he's going to get the point for the tech, doesn't get it, and boom, gone. Dunzo.
I think he pushes him out twice.
Oh, yeah.
So then that second one had to have broken him.
Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, I don't know. So, anyway, here's what I'll say. I like international wrestling going to the 2-hour weigh-in. I think that's good for wrestling. I think it's good for the sport as a whole. Again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, I think that it's been shown that you don't have to cut extreme amounts of weight to compete at the highest levels. I think there are plenty of examples of guys competing at, you know, world championship level, Olympic championship level without cutting, you know, extreme amounts of weight. I think from what I hear, you know, Jordan Burroughs doesn't cut extreme amounts. I mean, I think he cuts some, obviously. Obviously, he had the weigh-in scare at Final X. He cuts. I bet he.
But
probably,
that can also just be mismanagement in some way, because
he was just no matter who you are, you're cutting the last 5 pounds in water weight.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you're only.
And that's probably a decent amount at that level to cut. Like, I'm not saying if you're 2 pounds underweight, but you're 6 pounds away from the lower weight, it's like, well, I mean, 6 pounds isn't. You can do that in, you know, half a day, pretty comfortably.
Yeah. Well, so I think that it's been proven that you can compete without cutting extreme amounts of weight. I think that's what's best for high school kids. A lot of kids quit wrestling. There are kids that I know of that quit wrestling at all levels because they're so sick of cutting weight. You know, and it happens. I can think of a few specific examples in my head of friends that just, you know, they were cutting, and wrestling is already a hard enough sport as it is, and it's like they just get sick of it, and they're just like, you know what, screw it, I'm done. Rather than, you know, I mean, I'm always like, hey, if you love wrestling, just bump up. Who cares if you're on junior varsity? I mean, it's easy for a person to say that, you know, because everybody wants to be on the varsity squad, or they want to be, you know, everybody wants to be competitive, but if you love wrestling and what's keeping you from doing it is cutting weight, which I do think happens, then, you know, wrestle your natural weight. So, I mean, we've had teammates that were All-Americans in college that wrestled their natural weight, guys that didn't cut, you know. So, it's possible. We just got to encourage people to do it. I think coaches need to do a better job of in my opinion, high school coaches don't do a good job of watching closely where their kids are actually at and how much weight they're actually cutting. Some do, some don't, but I just think we need to do a better job of saying, hey, you know, I think you can be competitive at the weight class above. Let's lift weights, let's be strong, let's be excited and energetic for practice and for training. We need to do a better job of continuing. I think it's gotten better. It's definitely gotten better in the last 5 years with high school coaches, but it could still get even, you know, I think it could still improve. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's my
and
thought.
it also depends on, I think you have more weight issues when you have a more competitive team, where
that's true.
You have kids who are looking to go to college, and, you know, for them to get a scholarship, for the most part, they're going to probably have to at least be on varsity and have that opportunity to compete at the state tournament, or at, you know, and be seen. So
no, that's a good point.
So you get, we didn't have nearly as many. We didn't have very many people cutting weight when we were less successful, and then now that the team has been more successful, we see kids cutting a little bit more.
No, that's
even though we still don't like it, it's like, well, I mean, I understand why you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like, I totally get it.
That's a really good point. Is sometimes it's kind of unavoidable. The other thing that sucks about high school is kids grow in the middle of the season sometimes, and they start out the season, they're not having trouble making weight at all, and then all of a sudden by the end of the season, they're like, you see this a lot with 106, 113, 120 pounders. They're all of a sudden they're struggling to make weight at the end of the season. Well, it's because they're growing in the middle of, you know, they're growing in the middle of trying to maintain a weight, an exact weight. You know, in a perfect world, how do we dream this up where in a perfect world in wrestling, you somehow don't have weight classes? Would that ever just for...
No, not really, because then what is it, like, you go by each pound, you go by 3 pounds, because 5 pounds can make a difference.
No, well, what if
especially at the smaller weights.
What if, at high school, you go back to the old school youth, the middle school model where literally each team shows up. You don't know who's going to be in your bracket. Everybody weighs in.
How does that work at the state tournament?
Everybody weighs state, same thing. Everybody weighs in, and you just put them in 16-man brackets. Is that possible?
I don't think that's practical.
It wouldn't be possible for state because you wouldn't be able to have a qualifier.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to have a qualifier.
Yeah, I mean...
maybe state, you qualify off of winning percentage. You qualify for state...
So now our state bracket's going to be...
You qualify off
But see, now you got people who are going to go get easier competition to get a higher winning percentage. You're going to have people try to cheat the system no matter what system you have.
Hey, I'm just trying to dream here, man, all right? Don't crush my dreams.
I'm crushing them because it was dumb.
Is there a way?
No, probably not. It's like democracy. It's not perfect, but it's the best we got.
Oh, interesting. So you say.
At this time.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah, I think it's something... I think you just need to promote having fun with wrestling and enjoying the sport of wrestling, and that's going to hopefully incentivize them to maybe cut less weight and just enjoy wrestling to where they can compete at their natural weight. And then you also have to be lucky by having people of different size on your team.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I think, in my opinion, honestly, in a perfect world, in a perfect world, we would still have night before weigh-ins, and and this is like Kansas kind of sort of does this a little bit. I don't know if they still do this, but Kansas does home weigh-ins in the morning. You weigh in at home in the morning, and then you have a lot longer to rehydrate and stuff while you're traveling to your tournament and whatnot.
But then you're gonna get more weight cut.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. In a perfect world,
yeah,
you'd still have night before weigh-ins, and guys wouldn't cut extreme amounts of weight. They would still cut healthy amounts of weight, and they would still get a weigh-in the night before. Because what really sucks so bad is having to weigh in and then try to manage your nutrition perfectly over that next hour or 2 hours and still feel pretty crappy for your first couple matches because you're still dehydrated. All that together is what sucks. Yeah. It wouldn't be nearly as bad. If I was, back when I was wrestling 165 or whatever, that was a decent weight. I feel like 165 was a decent weight for me in college. And if I could have weighed in the night before, dude, that would have been amazing. Now, I probably would have cut a lot of my water weight more so at the end, so maybe you'd make the argument it would have been a lot unhealthier, but I would rather have it that way and feel good for my tournament the next morning rather than, weigh in, I don't know. All I'm saying is, perfect world scenario, weigh-ins the night before, but guys still somehow don't cut extreme amounts of weight.
Bringing up the old perfect world, you sound like Karl Marx right now. In a perfect world. Well, that perfect world doesn't exist.
Okay.
So let's move on.
If I was Karl Marx, I'd say everybody gets to share the pounds of the weight class, and we all just wrestle the same. Everybody wrestles the same weight.
Everyone gets 5th place.
Don't go. You're getting political on me, and I don't like it.
I'm just saying.
You're getting political on me, and I don't like it. Next.
All right. Next. We gotta.
Democratic socialism.
We gotta move on. You have the script thing, so I don't know what
okay,
that would
next
be.
up on the agenda, I believe, is Fargo, North Dakota. I think, that's how you have to say it. Dakota.
Fargo.
Okay, that's not.
That's more Irish.
Ian, that was terrible.
Fargo.
No, that is not.
You eat the potato.
Speaking of Fargo, have you seen the movie Fargo? Cult classic?
Kinda, yeah.
Great movie.
I've seen it. I didn't. It was okay.
Great movie. And
Fargo.
That's kind of how they talk.
We were gonna touch on Fargo, in the sense of if
it's currently going on as we speak, or it actually just finished. Was today the last day? Yesterday, last day.
Greco's going on.
Oh yeah, Greco. Duh. No, Greco. We still have Greco. Well, Greco Cadets is done. Greco
Juniors is going right now.
Going right now. Greco Juniors is going right now. I think today or tomorrow.
Which I promote Greco wrestling. I want all of my wrestlers to do it.
Hey, here's the reality. It's a different sport.
It's a different sport.
That's okay. It's still a sport that is very closely related to. Well, okay. Would you say freestyle and folk style are different sports?
They're much closer. Here's the way I view
that's what I'm trying to say.
Here's the way I view Greco. I want my wrestlers doing it. It's going to help you improve as a wrestler. Such as if there was a tournament of just you like just top and bottom, or not even that. Like you get an escape, you get a point, go back down, you get another escape. It's like you're working on one position, and you're working on the body control for one position that's going to help you in folk style wrestling.
Yep.
Okay, so if you're going for freestyle, then you could have another comparison, but it's like, yeah, I would want my guys doing that too. Why? Because they're going to get better at certain positions. Greco does the same thing for folk style and freestyle. It makes you a better wrestler, so you should do it. It's also at the highest levels extremely boring and hard to watch.
It's fun.
At Fargo, it's fun to watch because it's not the highest levels. Now it's the highest level of youth wrestling and of high school wrestling, but not of like watch it at the World Championships, and it's so boring.
It's fun when Kamal Bay's wrestling.
Yeah,
or some of those
few.
guys. I
mean, there's a few,
but it's in general, it's not. It's just not. It's not exciting because
it doesn't promote
it. The reason
I think it used to be better. Now it's worse.
It's
with push-ups.
When you limit an entire skill set, because really
when you eliminate an entire half of your body.
Are there any skills in? Let's think of this really quickly. Are there any skills in Greco that you can't use in freestyle? No, right? Is that?
I don't believe so.
I can't think of anything that you wouldn't. I mean, there's certain techniques that you might not use in freestyle because it just would be stupid to do it, but you would be allowed to do it, correct?
Yeah.
Now, the flip side of that coin is there are obviously a whole bunch of things that you can do in freestyle that you cannot do in Greco. So when you limit an entire set of skills, to me it just makes sense that it's going to narrow down the excitement because there's less room for creativity and possibility.
Yeah, the same as if you would just do top wrestling. Yeah. Well, let's just say this: you only do top wrestling, and then if you get turned and you could get pinned, but then other than that, it's like, well, the other guy goes on top now, and that's all it is. You can't score off. I mean, it can help you in other styles, so you should train it and you should do it. That doesn't mean it's, I don't know, the best sport in that area. Yep. Like, Greco's boring at the highest levels. It's impossible to watch at the World Championships.
I mean, I like it. Just again, it depends. Like, I enjoy It's all about the wrestlers. I enjoy watching certain wrestlers.
Kamal Bay's been exciting.
And there's some other guys. There's some other guys besides him. I mean,
yeah, but it's very few.
Yeah, no.
You don't like. You're not looking at. You're not watching the World Championships in freestyle, being like, well, there's one exciting guy that will be coming up. Every match is good.
Yeah. Now let's round this back to where we were going originally, which was Fargo, and I believe, yes, I'm all for kids wrestling Greco, especially at Fargo. I mean, it's not about, Fargo, in my opinion, is about getting mat time, getting experience. It's obviously competing for, college scholarships and national championships and all that too, but when you have a kid go to Fargo, I'm a big advocate of trying to get them to wrestle both styles, and we've had, and I've got friends, and we've had some of our wrestlers that only wrestle one style, and I get that there's a lot of things that go into only wrestling freestyle, whether it be if you're cutting a lot of weight and you're sick of cutting weight, or if you got injured wrestling freestyle, or whatever it is. There's a lot of reasons why kids don't wrestle, but if at all possible, it's like, hey, let's get more matches in while we're out here, and so wrestle both styles. Now, where I want to go with this is, and what we kind of were talking about originally when we put this on the podcast agenda is, if a kid goes out to Fargo and goes 0-4, 0-2 freestyle, 0-2 Greco, is it worth that wrestler going? Should they have gone?
I would definitely say yes, and there's multiple reasons. One, the training camp leading up to it is great. For other reasons, you're representing your state, and perhaps this would be the first time that this athlete has ever represented their state in any competition, in any sport. You get a confidence level where you are hanging out with most of the best wrestlers. You're hanging out with the best wrestlers in your state for maybe 9 days.
Yep.
And you're creating those relationships which and you're getting training from other coaches that you're not used to, which is a good thing too. and you get to see the highest level of wrestling. You get to be a part of that. It's essentially like someone going to the state tournament and going 0-2.
Yep.
It's a great experience for them. You're at the highest level of that wrestling, and especially at Fargo, you're at the highest level in the nation of that wrestling.
Yep.
So I would strongly recommend it if somebody's like, well, I don't know how well I'll do. It's like, you're only going to get better at wrestling. So at that point, it doesn't matter now. And then obviously, if you have had more success, that's where you can really make a name for yourself and get a lot of looks from colleges and get your name out there.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with you. I would say it depends on the individual. I mean, if a kid is like, and I think it's important. This is kind of an interesting topic that gets into a little bit of psychology of sport, but I'm of the opinion that it's important for wrestlers and athletes to try to be as realistic with themselves as they possibly can. Now, there are a lot of people that would say that, you should, in essence, now I realize I'm slanting this phraseology towards my opinion, but there would be people that would say that you should lie to yourself and tell yourself that you can win, tell yourself that you can win everything, win an Olympic championship right now, because you got to believe that you can. And
you can dream it, you can do it.
Yeah, and that's funny because we kind of make fun of that saying, but there are people that really advocate for that. Like, you got to believe that you could do everything. Now, this is getting into a whole nother topic, but just to round this back to where we were going, I believe it's important to be realistic with yourself. Ask yourself, where am I at currently with my ability, and what is going to be the best thing for me to increase that ability level by one notch. And that might be going to Fargo and realizing that I might go 0-4, and if I do, that's okay because of all the things you just listed. Now, but
it also is pretty expensive.
It is
for
expensive
that as well.
Yeah, that's true.
To where if you were a kid, let's just say who was maybe not at the varsity level, perhaps, maybe there's other things that are less expensive that your coach would recommend that could be as beneficial,
right? And that's
to that. And so,
yeah, that's where I
think a lot of that is you just need to have good counsel and just have the right people telling you, okay, well, you
could do this team camp.
There are some people who can go up there and go 0-4 who almost maybe went 2-4 or almost could have gone 3-4, but maybe they actually went 0-4.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, so that's a different, because maybe those matches are competitive. Now you have the kid who maybe goes up there, gets teched in 15 seconds in every match, wrestles 1 minute total. Then it's like, okay, maybe that's less beneficial for him than the guy who maybe went 0-4 but had a competitive match every match. So
yeah, I mean, I think I went up there after my freshman year of high school in cadets, and I think oh gosh, this is forever ago now. I think I was 1-2 in both styles, I believe. Maybe I went 2-2 in freestyle. I don't know. I don't remember. But either way, I wasn't even close to placing. And it was, I do think it was still a really good experience. It was really beneficial for the whole experience of it and everything, just like you just talked about. But the point is can a kid also, though, take those 2 weeks and do summer weight room, do maybe a way cheaper team camp and get 15 matches in, do open wrestling room with their teammates, and maybe get just as good of training over that 2 week time period as going to Fargo maybe got them? I would say yes, I think they can. I think both could be beneficial depending upon the kid.
I think it depends on the ability level of the kid, but I do think the training camp and having being exposed to different coaches, different kids on different teams who you've been wrestling against, you've been competing against them, now you're their teammate. I do think you create friendships, and then through that you see a lot more involvement in wrestling where they're like, yo, hey, we're thinking about going to you make friends with somebody from another school and like, hey, I'm going to junior duels, you should come. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, I have some friends now on the team, maybe I will go to junior duels, maybe I will go out to junior nationals or sophomore nationals or whatever it is. So I think being friends and creating those relationships with other teams and other coaches, I think that's a good thing to do, and I'm a big proponent of just try to enjoy it as much as possible. If you have cool friends, then it's great.
Yep. I'll say this. If a kid is state qualifier level or above before their senior year, so in other words, they were a state qualifier as a junior or before,
Yeah.
then I think it's beneficial for that kid to try Fargo at least once. I think all those kids, I would love to. Now, again, finances is financially and different things, and or just extenuating circumstances.
There's also ways that, like, if you attack that early enough,
not given,
most coaches will try to
take all the
guide you in a way that you could help pay for that, in the sense of, like, maybe fundraisers or whatever it is.
Take extenuating circumstances out of it, and let's just say hypothetically that these kids could go to Fargo. I think if you're a state qualifier or above before your senior year of high school, then I would love to see you do Fargo at least once, just because it is a great experience. But that being said, Nebraska, nice job at Fargo. Way to go, boys! Tip my cap to you. 5 All-Americans.
We had 2.
Lincoln East High School, first time ever that we have had 2 Fargo All-Americans in the same summer.
Yep.
Same year.
Shout out to Max Mayfield, got 5th in freestyle, or 6th in freestyle, and Keith Smith got 6th in Greco.
Nice job, boys.
Yeah.
Way to work. All right, so I feel like that's pretty good. We can probably stop there for Fargo.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Yashar Dogu. We already talked about it a little bit with Yanni versus the Hungarian.
Dargic.
Mainly where I want to go with this is, well, first of all, U.S. is looking good. But mainly where I want to go with this is Frank Chamizo, the Italian, or the Cuban, however you want to look at it, forfeiting to our hometown dude, Mr. J.B. Jordan Burroughs, in the finals. Now, Frank Chamizo is currently ranked world number 1, which means, the way I understand it, my understanding of this is where he's sitting currently, he's going to get the number 1 seed at the World Championships in September. Worlds are in September, right? In September. Yeah. That will then put Burroughs and probably the returning world champ Sidakov from Russia. It will put both those guys on the other side of the bracket, and they will have to wrestle each other in the semis, giving Chamizo obviously a much easier road to the finals. Now, this is interesting. People are ragging on old Frankie Chamizo big time on social media.
All Americans, by the way.
Well, you don't know that. Some
it makes sense.
Could be some Russians.
It makes sense. If you're his coach, I understand both sides, but I'm not like, oh, you gotta. It's just essentially, if Burroughs, I don't know if Burroughs would do the same thing, but it makes sense if you do.
Does it though? I
mean, you have to wrestle. You don't have to wrestle for the returning champ in the sems.
You're gonna have to beat either Burroughs or Sidakov
once. It's so hard to put that together.
You're gonna have to beat. Okay, if you're gonna want to win a world title, which is what
gotta beat them all anyways.
Which is what these guys want to do. You're gonna have to beat one of those 2 guys in the finals, regardless. Now you're gonna have to beat probably a pretty solid guy in the semis anyway, even if it's not. Yeah, okay, I realize Burroughs and Sidakov are probably a level above whoever that fourth seeded guy is going to be. Yeah, Burroughs and Sidakov are going to be better. But I mean, is it so much so that it's not worth getting that match against Burroughs, getting a world championship caliber match in before the world championships, and continuing to.
How much time do they get in between
matches?
Semis and finals.
Semis and finals is a little longer, I believe. Where the issue is typically, which you could make the argument, there's typically a pretty short amount of time between quarters and semis.
Yeah,
and that's where, if you have a tough guy,
it makes
semis,
sense. I don't think you can. I think you can try to call Chamizo out and try to get him. I don't know, mad. It's not gonna. What he did was smart. My brother just commented, why risk getting hurt or letting Burroughs figure him out more? I mean, they've wrestled a bit. I feel like
you could. The flip side of that argument, Ryan. Oh. The flip side of that argument is that Chamizo could use that match to figure Burroughs out. I mean,
I mean, yeah, that part of it. I mean, I get the injury part, where if it's a more competitive match, which most matches at the World Championships are probably gonna be very competitive anyways, but there's maybe a bigger risk of getting hurt. So I think it's more of the you're tired and now you've gone through this just gauntlet, and it just makes it probably makes it a somewhat tougher, maybe at least mentally, maybe not physically, but mentally it makes it tougher. And I get why he did it, and I'm not saying whether I would, as a coach, how I would handle that. I don't know, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I don't really want to concede this point to you because there still is just something that feels dramatically wrong about it to me. But I will say this. I mean, thinking back to Tervel's...
They do the Big Tens at conference tournaments.
I know. I saw somebody commented on Chamizo's Instagram or somewhere. I can't remember if it was on Flow or where it was, but somebody commented, man, it looks like international world ranking tournaments are turning into the Big Tens now.
Yeah.
I mean, people do it all the time, but that's where
especially if there's an injury.
That's part of the reason why I hate it. That's part of the reason why I hated it is like Big Ten championships now is like it's become ridiculous. It's like, guys, the Big Ten championships mean something. It should be important. It's huge to win a Big Ten championship. That should mean something. Yeah. Same with I think that's part of the problem is we don't make some of these tournaments. As fans, we don't give them the cred that they're due. Like, these tournaments are incredible, amazing. The Dogu is an amazing tournament. It should be like winning that should be awesome. This huge thing that is like super cool, and it kind of is. But like same thing with the Big Tens. It's like, as a wrestler, you should not want to forfeit in the Big Ten finals because winning a Big Ten championship should be that prestigious. I get it that it's like, oh yeah, it's never going to be as prestigious as nationals, but it's like,
it's true.
But I don't know. Maybe we should like find a way. Like, it's like winning. There should be a way that we could figure out a way that's like winning a state championship for a kid is huge. Now winning Fargo obviously is way bigger, but it's like, but kids want to compete in both really, really badly. Now I get that Fargo is a long time away from state, but let's say in some weird world it's like, if like taking second in state or something hurt your seeding for Fargo or something, would we have kids forfeiting in the state finals? It's like, no, they would never do that. Now I get that's kind of a bad example because that's not the way it is.
Western or like the regionals.
Well,
or if you win regionals, that is going to help your seed at Fargo.
Yeah, and seeds for Fargo are kind of weird the way it's done anyway. So I mean that's kind of a bad example, but the point I'm getting at is like it would be nice if Chamizo wanted to win the Dogu. And it's like, dude, I want to be the Dogu champ. But he's like, well, it doesn't really matter, so whatever. If there was a way we could get much bigger cash prizes on some of these tournament championships, that's
there you go.
That's the way to do it.
That's one way to do it right there. Is money. You can't do that in NCAAs.
No.
But, well, you should be able to. But
oh.
That's another podcast right there. But I get it. Like, the goal as a team is to win a national championship. The goal can also be to win a Big Ten championship. But the number one, if you have to sacrifice one of those goals, the Big Ten championship goes. And so when you have a situation like a Jason Nolf, where he's injured, why risk it? Once you get top 6 and you're guaranteed to qualify, even though he would have qualified anyways. It's like, why?
Injuries,
why wrestle?
I kind of get it. Injuries. Injury-wise, I'll give that a little bit more slack. I kind of get that. But the ones that
I don't think a lot of the guys at Big Tens do it because of seeding at nationals.
People were trying to make the argument that's
because didn't Nolf get like the 5th seed his junior year
after
NCAAs? Yeah. After he was undefeated,
he got punished.
Returning national champ, and he got the 5th seed.
Yeah, who really got punished out of that whole deal was the Iowa guy.
Kemmerer.
Yeah, Kemmerer. Kemmerer is the one who really took the punishment.
They shared 6th place. It's like one of my favorite pictures.
No, I mean, I think but a lot of people were trying to make the argument this year that Shakur Rashid was fine. I don't know. People were saying that, or like Suriano, people were saying that he was fine. I don't know whether or not they are not fine. Only they know their bodies. That's why I don't want to be too critical of them.
I mean, like I feel like these people like their teams and they're like, I want to see my team do well, but their coaches also want to see their team do well, and they're giving up team points potentially, and giving team points to a rival in the Shakur Rashid situation, essentially a pin. It's more calculated. They are giving something up. They're giving up team points now in the Dogu. I don't think it really matters. No one cares as a team. But in Big Tens, it's like it's not just I'm going to do this. It's like, well, I'm letting my team down in a sense. Like Penn State this year won their first Big Ten championship in the last 4 years. The first one in the last 4. And they've won the last 4 national championships.
Which is crazy because the Big Ten championships is huge. Like you should want to win that. That's
but they want to win. But they would rather win nationals more.
I know,
and not risk an injury from a Jason Nolf.
But here's my question.
And it's not like they don't want to not win it. They do want to win it.
What if in those?
But is it at risk of losing nationals?
Maybe, maybe not. What if in those 4 years?
I wouldn't want to risk that either.
I mean, what if? Would you rather have? This is gonna be a classic Keenan setup for you.
Oh my
Would you rather have 4 Big Ten runner-ups and 4 national titles, or 4 Big Ten national titles and 4 Big Ten titles and 4 national titles as well? Same.
That is the dumbest thing.
I got it.
You have one of the.
No.
Put it on.
No.
Hey, Jeff, if you're listening,
I qualified it.
Jeff.
No. Yeah. Jeff has to say if Jeff comments that. I have to put it
comment that he has to put the headgear of shame on.
He's probably not listening. He's probably
He just asked me if I would rather have 4 Big Ten runner-ups and 4 national champs, or 4 Big Ten champs and 4 national champs.
But that is the scenario we're posed with.
Because
would you?
Oh my gosh!
It is possible that they could have won all those.
Jeff, please text or comment in that he has to put the headgear of shame on.
Is it not possible?
Because that is the dumbest thing.
Is it not possible that they could have won the national championship or the Big Ten championship every single one of those years that they didn't?
They could have, but that could have been at risk of losing the national championship, especially 2 years ago.
We don't know.
When Jason Nolf was injured pretty bad, and my brother just commented, and Nolf had the 3rd seed. He was undefeated, returned national champ. And so let's say Nolf wrestles that match and gets injured. They don't win the national championship.
How bad could Nolf really have been injured? 2 weeks later, he blitzed through
2 weeks later. That's
D1
a long
nationals.
time.
He just absolutely destroyed everybody.
Remember my nose? If you were listening, my nose last week, super red.
Okay.
Now looking pristine.
Yeah.
That was 1 week.
Yeah.
It's looking great.
Probably because you put vitamin E oil on it every 30 seconds.
I did something with it.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I'm just here. Let's get back to where we were going with all this. So where I'm slightly in support of your point, but I think this is actually another thing that needs to change. Which is the biggest thing that needs to change is the way the World Championship tournaments are done, Olympics and World Championships. It's a freaking World Championship. It doesn't need to be packed into one day. Space the matches out a little bit. Make it a 2-day tournament.
Then you have to make weight.
They would have to make weight 2 days in a row. But even that, even if you keep it as a 1-day tournament, space the freaking matches out a little bit. They blitz through it like it's like trying to get through a freaking youth tournament.
It's like a Nebraska State wrestling tournament when they have like an Usher concert that night and they're like scurrying everyone out of there.
It's like youth wrestling tournament that has a basketball game that night, and it's like, oh, let's have these kids wrestle every 15 minutes. That's literally what's going on at the World Championships. Like Tervel wrestled and then wrestled in the World quarterfinals, wrestled again in the World semifinals. Like it was like 21 minutes later or something like that. Yeah. It's insane to me. So it is bad. That's the bigger issue to me. But where I'm going with that is, if you could do that a little bit better, you might not have guys as much worried about who they're going to wrestle in the World semifinals and figuring it out perfectly.
I totally agree with that. If you can space out the matches, then that will help take care of the seeding, somewhat of the seeding situation, to where it's like, you got to beat the best guys.
Yeah.
But having to beat all of the
Ryan,
is going to be harder.
Don't you dare second the headgear of shame. No, that Ryan.
We got a second headgear of shame from my brother. That counts.
We're gonna have Ryan call in.
You gotta put it on.
Ryan, you're dead to me. I thought we were. You were a groomsman in my wedding, Ryan. And this
I'm
is what
gonna
you
give
do
a
to
quick
me.
shout out to my niece who placed in a flower bouquet competition,
really?
and my nephew Boaz, or my niece Jolene, and my nephew Boaz got second in the rock collection at the Hoxie, Hoxie City Fair or Town Fair, or whatever it is, County
Really?
Fair. Yeah.
One time I took second in a Lancaster County Fair cookie eating competition.
Really?
Yep.
What age?
It was a lot of middle school kids. I was an adult, but there was another adult who beat me for first place.
Oh.
Yep.
I actually think
I don't know if he
my
was an adult or
nephew got second in the Lego competition as well and lost to a 40-year-old.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dang. Well,
Hey, what I gotta say is, you just gotta get in with the Sharks.
Oh man.
Build better Legos, Boaz.
All right, we're coming up onto the end of the podcast. Let's round it out with some who would win. So here's what we got. Who would win? Area 51.
Well, the United States Air Force or the people who say they're gonna storm Area 51.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Man.
Who would win?
So apparently, for all of those of you who are unaware of the situation, September 20th, is that right? You might need to look
September
up
20th.
Look up some info on this so we can give the people an education on if they want to participate.
Yeah. We need more people in there, guys. We only got 1.5 committed, 1.5 million. If they're gonna massacre, they got to massacre a lot of them to.
1.5 million people are committed to storming Area 51.
Well, I
September
don't think
20th.
they're gonna do it. Yeah, I assume most people aren't gonna do it. And probably all of them are not gonna do it.
Which is my older sister, Dr. Brett Haskell's birthday, by the way. So Brett, let's do it for your birthday.
And then
Brett, we're storming Area 51 for your birthday.
I'm down for that.
Dang, that would be awesome. Actually, it's like you said earlier before
September
the podcast.
20th at 3 a.m. Pacific time.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're going to try to catch them off guard. I wouldn't try to catch the U.S. Air Force off guard by posting what time you're going to storm it.
It's weird that this is going viral on social media.
Oh, it's getting big.
And the United States Air Force is going to be caught off guard.
Yeah, when they posted the time they're going. Now, I will say this. I greatly want to go. I really want to go, and I will not run, but I will throw out a lawn chair, and I will cheer. I'll hold a sign. I'll be like those marathon runners.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm going to have to...
Who you going with?
I'm going to have to give a slight nod to the United States Air Force.
Okay, well...
As we have nukes, so...
I'm going to throw a wrench into this.
Okay.
I'm going to throw a wrench into this. I'm going to go with the people of this great United States of America because they're storming in. The aliens are finally... They're feeling like they're going to get liberated, and there's way more aliens, and they start using their freaking superpowers again. They're teaming up with the United States citizens, and they go after the United States Air Force again. They rise up from their oppression, and then aliens and United States citizens live in harmony, and it's just like, and then then they're just like a part of our society. We just have aliens like,
and they got like all that cool technology, and we kind of help them like pick up chicks because they're like, 2 foot tall and super skinny, and they got like big heads. So we try to develop the personality, and they help us like they're like now they're the new nerds. So now nerds will like be cooler.
I stopped by the Casey's to pick up a slice of pizza, and there's an alien working the counter.
See, I feel like they're gonna be so smart that they won't be working the counter. They'll be running everything.
They won't. They wouldn't. They're too good for working.
They're too smart for that. Which, hey, you get money, you could get chicks that way. I do think they're gonna have a tough time, because while I wouldn't say either one of us is particularly attractive. I feel like being 2, maybe 3 foot tall and a beanpole isn't gonna do super well with the ladies of America.
You have no idea that that's what aliens look like. That is your caricature.
Well, if
that's your caricature.
You listen to the Bob Lazar podcast with Joe Rogan, then he said that the chairs in the spacecraft that he was working on would fit about maybe a person 3 foot tall.
Another reason why I believe Bob Lazar is full of baloney. That's just one.
I believe he believes.
Well, maybe.
I believe he believes he knows what he's saying.
Maybe. Last, who would win? Alexander Karelin, or if you perhaps are more of a local fan of his, Carolyn.
Karelin.
Alexander Karelin, the, I believe, 14-time world and Olympic champion.
12-time world and Olympic.
World and Olympic? Both
World
combined?
and Olympic champ.
I think it's 12 worlds in...
No, 9 worlds, 3
really?
Olympics, 1... So 13-time medalist. He got silver in the Olympics once as well.
To Mr. Rulon
To
Gardner.
Mr. Rulon Gardner.
Nebraska.
Which is going to be our third who would win, but I'll bring that up after this one.
Okay, no, so... No, no.
Yes, I'm gonna say it.
So, basically, we're going to go Alexander Karelin versus Bruce Baumgartner, 13-time medalist. Is that right?
Yeah.
In freestyle.
Oh, how about this?
In freestyle.
First period, Greco. Second period, freestyle.
Then I'm going Karelin. Karelin, dude, you can't... Well, let's put it this way. Are we talking Karelin in his prime?
Let's say both of them at age 34.
So Karelin had, you said 14 medals, is that right?
So he was 39, I believe. No. He was... What's 51 minus 19?
I'm terrible at math, and you know that. 51 minus 19.
Yeah.
So here's how I like to do it.
32.
I subtract 10, so that puts us at 41, and then minus another 9.
I wasn't
that's
real
32.
good at all the book learned.
32?
32. He retired at 32.
Karelin?
Yeah.
Did you see? We should pull up some
Jeez.
pictures of him. He looked terrible.
That means he won.
He looked terrible. Oh,
His
yeah, he
first-
was winning when he was
won
like...
his first gold at...
Now, there is the whole
at
scandal.
19.
There is the whole scandal where people say that Russians lie on their,
Birth
age.
certificate.
Well, yeah. Or
Yes.
international
Yes.
age competition. Anyway, I don't know, man. Baumgartner...
Okay, so not
I
when
think
he's 32.
We're going to say athletic prime of each of them.
So let's
Athletic
just say
prime-
30. Let's just say when they're both 30.
Athletic prime of each of them, Karelin versus Baumgartner.
But we gotta go. We gotta go.
The
One
only
period
way-
Greco, 1 period freestyle.
The only way I give Baumgartner a shot is if the whole match is freestyle. If you go 1 period Greco,
didn't-
dude,
he
nobody...
only wrestled Greco. Karelin did.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's the only
You're
way
using half your body, dude.
That's the only...
Which means you're
dude,
half as good.
Did you see the man? He looked like some sort of sick Area 51 experiment gone wrong.
Gone right.
Dude, didn't they call him the experiment or something like that?
So he has a
What's his
few,
name? Yeah,
a few
read his-
nicknames. We have
Read his
Alexander Karelin, the Russian Bear, Russian King Kong, Alexander the Great, and the Experiment.
Oh my gosh, what a freak.
So he had 4 nicknames.
If you go 1 period Greco, I'm definitely going Karelin. I'm not gonna.
I'm
say
gonna go
maybe
Baumgartner. I'm gonna go Baumgartner because Karelin doesn't know how to sprawl.
Okay, that's false. I'm sure he knows what a sprawl is, and he's
Doesn't
probably
do it.
Yeah, but he.
Baumgartner.
It's the same as like, dude.
They're different sports.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going Baumgartner. Gets down by unless he gets teched in the first Greco, if the first period's Greco.
Oh my gosh.
I think potentially they each could maybe tech each other.
That would be interesting if they could probably.
Here's what they should do.
I don't think they
here's
would-
even better.
Here's
you
the deal.
just go 2 periods, but every minute it switches.
Oh, and the
Yeah.
ref just calls it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, so-
and freestyle.
So yeah, freestyle. Like whoa.
Like basically what I do when I'm
Yeah.
wrestling Tervel in the living room,
Yep.
and I'm just like, now we're gonna switch it up.
We used to do that, but with jiu-jitsu and folk style wrestling.
Yep.
So we'd go folk style up until then it's jiu-jitsu.
Yep. Basically until the guy puts you on your back, then
Yeah.
you call out jiu-jitsu.
Well, you have one other person. You have the referee who just changes whenever they want.
Yeah. That's kind of genius, actually. Hey, how many subs we got? How many subscribers we got?
So
these
we have
days?
499.
Okay.
Actually, real quick, the last who would win, Rulon Gardner or a treadmill?
Okay, first of all, I actually have some insider info. I don't know if I should say it
Do
on the
it.
podcast, but
Do it.
Rulon apparently was, when he was doing The Biggest Loser, he
I've heard
gained. I've
something as well.
heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard he intentionally gained a whole bunch of weight
before
The Biggest Loser, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I've actually heard that. That's my thing about that show. Why would people not do it?
Yeah.
Why would you not just gain tons of weight?
I
beforehand?
ate so much food and drank so much water before we did that little weight cut thing
Oh yeah.
for the team.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Whoa!"
So I did beat you. You're
9
8.5
pounds. I
Your
was like
9 pounds
bloated.
was
I'm like,
false.
"Oh."
Your 9 pounds was fake. I beat you in that.
Well, hey,
Okay, how many subscribers we got?
we have 499, and what's great here is if you subscribe to our channel and you comment down below who would win, U.S. Air Force or the people who are storming Area 51, you will win a free copy, or a copy, you'll actually win this copy, of Lincoln's Battle with God, a non-fiction tale of how Lincoln literally and physically fought God once.
I don't think physically.
Well,
I don't.
The Son of God. He fought Jesus.
No.
Yeah.
Also false.
It's a good one. I'll
also
tell you what.
false and possibly sacrilegious.
Well, you'll win this great nonfiction book.
And
also, we would like to thank our sponsors of this, Xbox 360. They are now promoting Xbox 360 again. Instead, we're
still waiting on our compensation from them, but I'm sure it'll be coming
Xbox
in soon.
360, thanks for... I'm surprised they are promoting a very much old system now.
Yeah.
So,
pretty amazing.
So make sure you subscribe. Comment down below who would win, U.S. Air Force or the Area 51 Stormers, and get this great tale.
Alrighty, and with that, we will outro.